That's it.
Kahu.
Yeah, Kahu. Dude, the season's almost over.
Oh, we're getting there, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long, long
arduous
season.
but such a great one for me.
Okay.
Super enjoyable, man.
Dude, I love that for you.
Dude,
I'm
love
still stressed. I'm still stressing out over here.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean,
We still got things to play for.
yeah, we don't.
You're done.
Yeah, look, our whole team's play. I mean, you got Anna Stott partying in Ibiza.
So he's
The
doing DJ sets now. DJ Anna.
DJ Anna, man. Wiki, yeah.
Wiki Schlot.
Yeah. Yeah, more like Wiki champions, bro.
Gay.
All right, let's jump into some gossip for the week.
Yeah, before we decide to go into it, let's run through this show.
Yeah. In the usual format that we normally have.
Yeah.
Firstly is a retraction on my part.
Yeah, big retraction coming.
But I also blame Real Madrid for this.
Don't blame Real Madrid for
Dude, I blame Real Madrid.
incompetency.
No, it's not incompetence.
A big fake news guy over here.
Dude, fuck you. I tried so hard. I thought I had a scoop.
But it sounded right. It sounded
Well, dude,
right.
they said that Carlo Ancelotti got the job with Roma.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not fucking happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the job that he wasn't getting with Brazil, which, to be fair, the Brazilian Federation came out and said, we don't have time to wait for you.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go with another candidate, which was clearly some kind of fucking tactic because he's now taken the national team role with Brazil, which is good for him. But fuck you for making me wrong.
So he's done a full 360 on where he was meant to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So now he's taken the job with the national team. He's going to commence with the team at the end of May, and he'll be on the sideline from the start of June this year, which is pretty quick.
Because I think they've got World Cup qualifiers, so they want him in ASAP.
I mean, if you think about Tuchel taking the England job, it was months before he was on the sideline.
Well, he was given the job, I think, in November, and he said he wasn't going to start until January, but they didn't have anything planned until March. So that was the idea.
So, look, interesting. I think he's going to be pretty good there. And then, obviously, his replacement over at Real Madrid is like the worst kept secret in the world. It's going to be Xabi Alonso.
Second worst kept secret. Trent was the number one. This is the second one.
Yeah, exactly right. So it looks like Xabi Alonso will replace him. He'll be on the national team. And we're reading today, actually, Kaká to be the assistant coach.
Yeah, look, it's not official yet, but Ancelotti wants Kaká there. Obviously, they had a lot of history, especially with their Champions League winning side in AC Milan in 2007. And then Ancelotti was actually at Real Madrid at the back end of Kaká's Real Madrid career.
Yeah.
So they do have obviously a lot of history together. Makes sense. Kaká's a Brazilian legend. Would obviously help him with everything.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
It's a good move because, like, what Brazilian player is not going to respect Kaká?
Even the greatest players in the world respected him. You have to respect.
Well, he's a Ballon d'Or winner.
Oh, so you're talking about Kaká? I thought you were talking about Ancelotti. Sorry.
Well, both. To be fair, right? Like, you've got the greatest manager of the world, probably one of the greatest Brazilian players of all time.
Yep.
You know, there's not a whole lot of them that won Ballon d'Ors.
Yeah.
You know, so look, I think it's a good combination. Brazil could be back because they've been pretty like dormant. Like,
yeah,
they've always had like good players, but recently, how many times I always put in perspective, like, you know, when you go on like Google or and you look at the team lineups, and some players have pictures, and then other players are just, you know, grayed out because obviously they're not big enough names.
They play in Brazil or something. Yeah,
and they're not big enough names. And like, if you go back to, you know, the early 2000s, 1990s, the Brazilian team was all superstars.
Oh, that was that.
You knew every player. Yeah. And then now you've got players that just go in there and see his name's like Alex, and you're like, who the hell's that?
Yeah, some guy that plays for Fluminense, and you're going, oh, okay, that's all they could find.
Yeah, that's and you're like, is this what it's come to?
Yeah.
How's the selection process? So I think Ancelotti is going to bring them back to where they were.
Yeah,
it's not like they don't have quality.
Also with Ancelotti is he's now going to be the highest paid international manager ever, or at the moment. So, but
deserves
ever.
to be.
Yeah, bro, the guy
deserves to be. I think
we've said, he's the best, in our opinion, the best manager ever.
Yeah,
for what he's done.
I reckon he'll hold that record until Pep takes over Spain, and then when Pep takes over Spain, they'll make him the highest.
Yeah, you're
for
right,
sure,
yeah.
right? Like, it's just the process that's going to follow.
Yeah.
But
But you are right. Like they were very. Probably from like the 2018 World Cup, I think they've been very stagnant.
Yeah,
they haven't really progressed. They've made finals in like the Copa America, but
they had two different strikers called Fred.
Oh, Fred, God, do you remember Fred?
They had the midfielder Fred, and you're like, well, here's a picture. At least like people know who he is. And then they had two other Freds who were like, the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
Because you're just like, it should be, especially Brazilian strikers. Like you look at the history of them, right? You got fucking R9,
Yeah.
who's one of the greatest of all time. How have they not been able to replicate somebody?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I think it's a very good move for Brazil. I think, like I said, they've been very stagnant, and I think they need somebody to elevate them, especially with guys like Vinicius and Rodrigo, who Ancelotti already knows. So that'll definitely help them, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they go in the World Cup.
yeah,
It's gonna be super because it's only next year.
I don't think he's got enough.
Away.
I don't know if he's got enough time to turn him around in that year, but we'll see.
It's possible.
I mean, I've got anything's possible, especially with the quality that I have coming out of Brazil.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see what he does.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. And then look, staying on, it is a real Real Madrid trend
Oh, again.
going on. I don't know. Will they give me such good information? I don't know what you want me to do with it. So
Nothing. You just report the news.
that's it. Exactly right. So we had the Clasico.
What a game!
What a game!
What a game!
It was a great game.
It was up. Mbappe scored a double in 11 minutes, and then Barca up 4-2 by halftime. You're going, what the fuck is going on here?
Yep.
Ended up 4-3, which means Barca wins the title.
And then there's so the VAR room has audibly been heard when they switched to them saying thank goodness after Fermin Lopez handballed in the box before the goal in the Clasico.
Before Barca's goal,
Yeah. And
So
there's
I
a
think there was
goodness-
like a flick, and it came off his hand.
yeah.
Obviously, during play, you're like, yeah, whatever you play on, but then that gives them any sort of reason for VAR to be like, no, not a goal.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can audibly hear them say,
Which is
thank God.
Yeah, but this is just again, like I've said, week on week on week, is just Real Madrid constantly putting pressure on these referees to make these type of decisions. And they're saying, thank goodness that we can actually make this decision because we don't want to go against them. Because if we go against them, there's going to be a smear campaign on our private lives. It's insane. It's just like a Days of Our Lives series based on referees.
Bro, this is pretty much professional.
Bullying?
I was going to go more along the lines of like the mafia.
Yeah, extortion?
Extortion, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much, they're
You know that sick child that you've got? Yeah.
That's
You
got-
want that smeared all over the camera? You want that smeared all over the newspapers? No, leave my child alone.
It's going to be like Paulie Walnuts. It's two guys going to rock up in
Yeah,
tracksuits
yeah.
and wings in their heads. But hey, you know that game that you got? I wouldn't be going that way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be thinking about the other team. Just saying. You have yourself a good day. By the way, I got this coffee.
Yeah.
What coffee? Where the hell did you come from?
Yeah, yeah,
Where's
yeah,
my
yeah.
house?
Yeah. Is that my child in the back seat?
No, but here he is. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Please, no. Have a nice day. We know where you live. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's
that's it,
insanity,
yeah.
right? And the relief, the thank goodness audibly as well.
Yeah.
Like where it's not even like you can look at a guy and be like, oh, he's got to be like, oh my God, thank God.
He's like,
Yeah. It's insane.
yeah.
But, continuing on. So Trent obviously confirmed
I was thinking with Real Madrid.
last week. Well, I'm sorry. They give me information. I got to do it. So Trent, is obviously leaving for Real Madrid.
Yep.
Came out obviously this week what his signing bonus is going to be for Real Madrid. So he's getting a 20 million euro signing bonus to go to Real Madrid, which, good for him.
Yeah.
But then there's obviously a lot of different press coming out about what Liverpool offered him to stay.
Yeah.
It was considerably more money than what he's going to get
like,
at Real Madrid
Like per week, you mean?
per week. Yep. Obviously, Madrid's covering his taxes and that type of thing.
Yeah,
which they don't do in England. But it's more that they also offered him a signing bonus, not at the same level as 20 million, but still offered him a few $1 million as a signing bonus and more of a salary, and he's chosen to leave. So, I think he's done us dirty, but we can't harp on about it. I think they've already got a replacement that looks pretty confident to come, which is in Jerome Frimpong. They're saying so long as Liverpool ready to front the money, he's going to come, and it's actually not that expensive.
He's looking at 35 mil.
Which is, if you get a solid right back, that's actually not too bad.
Well, if he comes good, it looks like a bargain.
Well, they've been comparing his stats Bundesliga versus Trent in the EPL.
Yeah.
And he outshines Trent in the kind of the completed crosses department, and defensively he's better. That's not hard.
Yeah, that's not hard.
That's not hard to be a better defensive player. However, is he going to have the same output, passing wise and getting up the pitch and assist wise?
Yep.
Yet to be seen, but we'll see. But I did think it was funny. Obviously, there was a publication that came out in one of the Spanish newspapers around the Madrid fans' sentiment towards Trent Alexander-Arnold coming, and essentially the quotes that come out of it are, "Why are we signing this guy which is not why are we signing Trent Alexander? It's this guy when we have Danny Carvajal. So there's no excitement around the fans for this for Trent to be coming. So he's not going into this team as a superstar. He's going into this team as just a functional player within the team. And I think the only reason he's going is because of Jude, right?
Yeah.
The marriage with Jude, they're obviously friends, wants another Englishman in the team. See how it goes. But I think he's going to have a lot of pressure. I just don't see it being a move where he's going to dictate the play like he did in Liverpool.
No, he's going into an already established team, right? Now, I think that this is obviously also a contingency plan for Carvajal.
Yep.
Danny Carvajal will be coming back from an ACL injury. And even when he was fit, and I'm talking like he's been doing this for like nearly 10 years now, his hamstrings are gone. His calves are gone. Like he's always injured, right?
I don't think he's got a full season in him.
No, he's never had a full season in him. Even in finals, even for Spain, like the guy just always gets injured. So he's a good backup. He will get plenty of games. Now, in terms of the pressure, Real Madrid fans are relentless. Spanish fans are relentless.
We've already seen it with Bale, and everyone makes the excuse that, he never learnt Spanish and didn't get along with the team, whatever. The fans don't give a shit if you get along with the team. They either like you or they don't.
Even Kaká was copying it.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, he obviously didn't bring the form that he brought from AC Milan to Real Madrid, and it was at the time a world record signing before before Ronaldo got there. So there was obviously a lot of pressure on him, but even when he was doing good things, they still gave him shit. Same with David Beckham. When David Beckham was there, they still gave him shit because they never won anything.
What do you mean?
Right? And if it happened, I see no reason why Trent would be any different if he's not performing.
Especially going into a team with a new manager. How is Xabi even going to play? And I think the way Xabi is going to play will suit Trent because he did it.
Look at
Leverkusen,
Frimpong.
Right?
Yeah.
Frimpong really suited the system at Leverkusen, right? They like to get forward off their wing backs. They like him to play balls in. Doesn't mind if he gets infield, that type of thing. So I think it will suit him, right? But, I mean, it's only going to take any one of those Barca players to skin him a few times in a game.
Well, Rafinha will be on that side. If Rafinha brings that form to the form that he's had this year to next year in Clásicos, because they won all 4 Clásicos they played against Real Madrid this year. And if Rafinha has Trent marking him, I don't see any reason why Rafinha couldn't get a hat-trick in goals and assists in a game.
And if he does, I can pretty much see those fans turning on Trent really fucking
quick.
Really fucking quick. So we'll see how it goes. I'll be following it very intensely. I can tell you that much. But before we move on to a bit of the European football, because I think we've got some finals coming up.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit interesting to kind of look at the Europa League final is on. They've selected the referee that's going to be for the Europa League final. And it's guy Felix Zweier. Right? So he's a German referee. However,
Zweier.
He's been done for match fixing previously, and he received a 6-month ban in Germany from officiating any of the games because of essentially a match fixing charge, which was proven in 2005. So it's interesting that he's been allowed to ref for 20 more years after match fixing.
He learned his lesson.
Yeah.
But what's going to be funny is, look, I don't think he has anything to worry about in this final, because when you think about it, you've got Daniel Levy, who's very, very tight with his money. So I'm guessing he would pay the ref in installments if you wanted to bribe him. And then you've got Man U, who are cutting back on everything. So I don't think they have any money to give to the ref.
Like a $1.2 billion deficit at the club or some bullshit at the moment. So it's just...
You know that, so usually they have like a I don't know if it's like a parade or something like that for the end of the season, right? The owner, Sir Daniel
Levy.
No. Sorry, not Sir Daniel. The Man U owner.
Sir Jim Radcliffe.
Sir Jim Radcliffe, sorry. I was about to say Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah. No, that's Harry Potter.
Yeah. You got some magic.
Sir Jim Radcliffe has actually cancelled their parade and is now just giving him a barbecue because of the poor performance that they've had this year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's fair, but it just adds on to everything else that he's cost cutting. Dude. And so I think this ref has nothing to worry about in terms of match payments.
Ruben Amorim had to front for all of the
I saw that.
staff to get sent across, because otherwise they were just getting put on like the TV.
Yes.
So they could watch the final.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
That's insanity, dude.
so the coach is now fronting all the costs,
Yeah.
which is super nice of him. Super nice.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, it might,
I don't see why the billionaire guy doesn't front out of his own pocket, but I mean,
Yeah, the billionaire owners
The billionaire
that have
owners,
only
yeah.
taken money out of the club for the
Yeah.
last like 20 years. Yeah, it's like, well, maybe we'll just give some back. No,
No,
dude.
no.
They still haven't even paid the $600 million debt that they bought the club with, which they put back onto the club. Yeah.
it's
so,
just falling apart.
well, this is what happens when you have owners that just don't give a shit.
This is like the crumbling of an empire.
Yeah.
Back when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge, Old Trafford was blaring, Man U was glowing.
It was a different time in football.
It was a big
though.
time, yeah. And 10 years later, it's full of rats and there's fucking water seeping out of the roof.
Literal rats on the field during the game.
Yeah, they have no fear now.
Yeah.
Rats hide in the sewers because they want to stay away from people. They're scared of the noise and being killed by predators, right? Now they're going out in front of 70,000 people going, oh, Old Trafford, hectic. I'm going to go go for a walk.
Hello, family. Yeah. Okay, run up to fucking Bruno and just try to give him a little kiss or something. Yeah.
Paisan.
Yeah. But so we've had the Europa League semi-finals go on. So we obviously had Tottenham versus Bodo Glimt. And look, to be fair, and I think as both the games were, surprisingly more in the Man U game, but Tottenham kind of breezed through Bodo Glimt. They win 5-1 on aggregate, 2-0 in the second leg, away from home.
Look, the second leg was, I was very pleased with how Tottenham set up. They were very, very more solid at the back. Didn't really let Bodo Glimt get too many solid chances. They had a couple, but nothing of real big like to shout out about. But yeah, once Tottenham got that first goal, that was 4-1 on aggregate. I think it was about half an hour left. Tottenham was sweet. They've gone through. And bro, I've got to bring this quote up. Ange Postecoglou said at the start of the season, I always win things in my second year. And if they win, this man is a fucking genius. I do not care what anyone says. And if I hear Tottenham fans fucking whinge about where they came in the table, bro, he got you to a final.
Dude,
I'm waiting for him to get sacked, actually.
Dude, if he wins them a trophy, it is the most insane thing that a manager's been able to do at Tottenham in like 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
Because
now, their last title was the League Cup, which I think was in like 2007. Before that, bro, you got to go back to like the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 20, it's more than almost 20 years
nearly 20 years, yeah.
since they've won a piece of silverware.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Oh, wait, we're not counting the Audi Cup.
Oh. They would, but
They
Levy
would.
Levy would. He'd be there and be like, won the Audi Cup.
Let's add another
Yeah.
cup to my cabinet. What do you got in your cabinet? Just an Audi Cup? What
Yeah,
the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Did you make that?
Hang on, didn't you sponsor this tournament? The fuck? And then obviously on the other semi-final, you had Man United versus Athletic Club. Bro, this was shocking to me, to be honest, because like think about the logistics of it. The final is in Bilbao,
Yes.
the home ground of Athletic Club. You assume that they are gonna gun to get to they're gonna get to the final, right? Like you're gonna have all your home supporters there. You have such an advantage, and Man U that can barely beat a bottom 10 team in which.
Well, what do you mean? They are bottom 10. They're bottom
Bro,
5 at the moment.
If it essentially. What was it? There was some stat that came out. If you had taken away the wins that Man U had against the bottom 3 teams, that they would be in the bottom 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Exactly
if they,
right.
so realistically, they should be in the exact position that they're in because the only teams that they could beat were below them.
Yeah.
And
Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester.
and if they didn't manage those wins, they would have been relegated.
Do you imagine they get relegated and they're in a Europa?
That would be hilarious because what happens if they get relegated but then win the Europa League final? Are they still in the Champions League? They have to be, right?
They still compete. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
It was like when remember when Wigan won the FA Cup? They were in the Championship competing in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can happen. But look, the second leg 4-1, Mason Mount got a double, which I found hilarious.
Yeah.
He's
Well, bro, because he's been injured for like the majority of the season.
pretty
Hasn't
much
he?
the whole
Yeah.
season. He's been injured.
And then he comes back, scores a couple goals. Well, good investment, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but look, let's get into the final itself.
Well,
right. So
Obviously, look, I think that it being in a neutral ground is going to help Ange. I think that helps out Ange a lot more than what it helps Man U. I just think Tottenham Tottenham have a better system than what Man U do. Man U has.
I think they also have better players for the system compared to Man U's system players for the system.
Ange's been there longer, right?
He's been there,
able to
he's-
build this team and try
Yep.
to build some confidence in it. They're also getting their players back at the
They've-
perfect time,
They've
dude.
pretty much got all their players back
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
It's the perfect time for it. Look, Man U's got a lot of their players back as well.
Yeah,
So-
Ahmad just came back, which is massive for them because he was their best player before he got injured.
I mean, as we saw in the league this week, he's super. I mean, didn't really score or assist, but he was super involved in every
Yeah.
one of their attacks, which is going to be a main thing for them. Now they can stop relying on fucking Harry Maguire to save them at the end of every game.
Bro, he plays as a right winger now. It's fucking hilarious.
It's ridiculous. So I think if you're breaking it down, look, we know how Tottenham's going to play. Tottenham's going to take the game to Man U,
Yep.
and I think Man U's going to have to play on the counter against them. So it's really on Tottenham, I think, to get an early goal. I think if they get an early goal on Man U's going to have to scramble. Man U's going to have to try to play them rather than just sit back and wait for that counter attack and either wait for a ball to go to Bruno or Ahmad. Because I don't think I can see much creation from anyone else other than those two in that team.
Yeah. Mainu needs to have a big game for them. Right
Oh,
now,
I think he's got one foot out of the door.
Yeah, that's possible.
That's-
Obviously, Man U are looking to reinvest in funds, and the only two players that they said that they're willing to sell of any value is him and Garnacho. So if he's got one foot out the door, then obviously that's going to hurt them. But, it's a final. You would think he would put his all in for the final.
100%. I'm sure it helps his salary negotiations if they win the Europa League final.
Speaking of which, have you heard what happened with Casemiro's?
Yes, he gets a salary increase.
He gets a salary increase if they win the Europa League, and it's going to be £500,000 a week. Who comes up with these fucking numbers? Who?
Dude, because they would have just said that if
Please
we
come,
win a
we'll give you
Europa League-
anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And but that's how Man U's always done business.
Mm-hmm.
They've always done business with, all right, we get the player we want. But the problem is that a lot of the other teams now have that ability, and they don't have the quality of back of house staff to be able to complete the transfers.
Yeah.
They go for a name like Casemiro. They've always gone for names. Remember when they did it with Falcao? They got Falcao too late.
Yeah.
They got Casemiro too late.
Schweinsteiger. Remember they got Schweinsteiger?
Too late again.
Right at the back end of his career.
And he was playing with the fucking youth team.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you have a German legend
Yeah.
playing with your youth team, and they had no problem with it. It's insanity, dude. They got Ibrahimovic too late.
Yep. He was at the back
They
end of his
brought back Ronaldo again.
Yep.
Too late. Then blamed him for all of their problems.
Yep.
So it's just, dude, it's insanity because it's just repeating the same action over and over again and getting the same result. Shit. Whereas I see Tottenham, Ange takes a lot of risk, which I appreciate, right? You've got to take risk. He has a style of play he wants to implement there. All right, he didn't have all the players to implement that style. I think now with a full squad going against Man U, you're going to be able to implement that style. And I don't know if Man U can deal with that pressure.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to have to see, whether or not they can deal with the pressure. But we're going to find out. And I think it's going to be a pretty open game, to be fair, because I don't think Man U can sit 10 men behind the ball.
No.
I don't think they had the ability to. They don't have the players to. But I do think that they will sit, either Rasmus or Xerxes just up front, waiting to just pick up balls as they come out.
It would definitely be. I think Xerxes might be injured. I think he's injured. I'll
he's
double check. But last time I
there.
checked, he was injured. But it will definitely be Hoyland up top, which does not bode well because he scored like 5 goals all season, all competitions.
Mickey van der Ven's back, right?
Van der Ven is back. So I just had a look. The only players that are out for Tottenham are Dragusin, which doesn't count.
Doesn't matter.
Madison is out, which is huge loss
That's
for
massive.
them.
That's huge.
They've also got Bergvall out. And
That's a pretty decent loss for him,
Yeah, and
especially
they've
at the
got-
end of a game.
Yeah, and they've got Kulusevski doubtful. But I think he'll skip this week and he should be fit for the final.
I would imagine so. You would definitely rest him this week because if
Yeah.
you can have Kulusevski there, he's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
yeah.
definitely a problem because
Then for Man U, so Dallo is out.
that's a problem for them.
Delit is out.
What's
So that's
the-
another center. Well, he could be back. Lissandro Martinez is definitely out because he's ACL. Euro is out.
That's big for him. He's
Yep.
actually been
so
actually
that's 4
playing
defenders
half decent.
out. Then you got Xerxes out. So Xerxes out for the season.
So that means Hoyland starting up
Hoyland
front.
has to start up front.
Has to start
Unless
up
they want to
front.
start that kid Obi Martin again up top.
He's
Like,
surely not starting him.
you wouldn't start. You wouldn't start a
Surely
fucking,
not.
You wouldn't start a 17-year-old in
Surely.
the Europa League finals.
Surely not.
It has to be Højlund, right? So if you're going off the injuries in the teams, I think the injuries kind of even themselves out with, you know, the defenders out for Man U, with the midfielders out for Tottenham, and Xerxes means that Højlund's the
I
only
think
attack
just
that they
the
have.
loss of Madison is massive for Tottenham because he's their most creative, and you can tell when they have Madison, they're just on, right?
Yeah.
Like he just dictates everything through the play.
Yep.
But I think the positive is having Dominic Solanke up front.
Yep.
Right? Dominic
Yes.
Solanke can create goals, and he's shown that like if you give him a half chance, he can score a goal.
Yeah, well, he
Right?
did. He scored in the semi-final in the second leg. It was a good goal as well.
So my money's on Tottenham.
I said from the start, Tottenham. Sorry, I said from when the group stages were done that I hope Tottenham would win. I'm sticking with that. I really want Ange to win a title. This isn't about Tottenham. This is about Ange. Also, Son. If Son wins a title,
He deserves to, dude. He's been
give
so loyal.
this motherfucker a statue, bro.
Yes.
Give him a statue.
Yeah, dude,
right?
he deserves it.
Of all the players that have been through
The only
Tottenham,
other player that I'd have an argument for, which deserved to have won a trophy there, is Loris.
Oh, Lloris, yes,
Lloris.
yes.
He's the only other player that was
Yes.
at Tottenham that I thought was like, well, I mean, look, there's an argument for Harry Kane, but I hate that prick. So, you know, I can't be on his side.
But Son is levels above Kane in terms of like earning that statue, I reckon. In my eyes.
I've never seen a player work harder for so much disappointment in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like week in, week out, he runs and gives 110% on the field. He tracks up and back every game. He tries to get the ball. He wins tackles. He plays the balls in, and he just doesn't get what he deserves for the effort he puts in with the players around him.
Yeah.
And you can just tell, like, he's the player where it's like, if he went to any other team, they'll be like, we're going to build a team around you. And he's at this team where they're just like, well, I mean, you can be in the team.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I'm trying
thank
so
you.
hard. You know, like he's
thank
just so humbled every week.
He is. He's a super humble guy. And yeah, for what he's, because there was times where a lot of teams were after him. And he was so loyal to Tottenham. He goes, no, I love this club. I want to stay.
Yeah.
I want to win something. And he's stuck it out.
And-
And I would love for Tottenham to win a trophy for Ange and for Son. That
I
would just be
think-
great.
I mean, look, if you're going to put money on anything, I'd go Tottenham to win, Son to score or assist. Because I think
Solanke to score.
Solanke to score, Son to score or assist,
Yep.
and Tottenham to win,
Yep.
I think is a decent bet.
Yeah.
Because I think, look, Solanke, because he's up front.
Yep.
Son, because I think he's going to put in, I mean, I imagine he's going to do an 18-kilometer game. Like
Even if they
he's
get a
going to
pen,
run.
he'll take the pen.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
And then Tottenham, I think. Look, I just can't see Man U in the form that they are. The only way you can see him doing it is Bruno. Right? Bruno pulls out the game of his career.
There is one other player who I reckon can drag him out into the final win, and that's Casemiro, based off his finals experience.
Yeah.
right? He has won Champions Leagues. He has been in
Well, I mean,
plenty of finals
also
for Brazil.
that sweet moolah that he's going
And
to
I was
get,
about to say,
baby.
he gets that extra. It's cash incentive if they win. So
Yeah.
I could definitely see him putting in the shift, being that wall that he used to be at Real Madrid. Even tracking forward, he might even be able to have a shot on target. I would even put him to have a shot on target.
Wouldn't be a bad bet.
You know what I mean? So I think he'll have a good game if they are to win. Bruno for sure, and Mad will be a problem, and I think Casemiro needs to have a massive game.
Yeah,
But
well, I
for
mean,
Spurs to win, if they stick with their system, right? The way that all season people have ragged on Ange about his style of play. He goes, I don't care what you all say. This is how I'm doing it.
yeah.
Right? Now, it hasn't translated to the Premier League because obviously they've had too many injuries. And when you've got Ben Davies and some 18-year-old kid trying to play a high line,
Yeah.
it's not going to work, right? But now he's got Van de Ven, he's got Pedro Porro in, he's got Romero back, he's got his proper lineup again, right? Now they can play that style of play. And I reckon that they can pull it through if they stick with the system.
No, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. So look,
come on.
that's-
So
that's
that'll be next Thursday.
Thursday morning,
yeah.
5 a.m. for us.
Yep.
Decent time for everybody else. But then we've got Conference League.
Yes.
And I think, look, obviously the Fiorentina Betis was the unknown.
Yep.
Who was going to go through with between those two teams? Obviously, they're two of the three decent teams that were left.
Yep.
Ended in a 2-2 draw in the second one. But the shout out here is Anthony. What a player he has been for Betis.
Yeah. So the first game finished 2-1. And And then this game also finished 2-1 after full time. So it was 3-3 in aggregate. Anthony got the goal for Betis. Goes in extra time and he gets the assist, which was a great assist, by the way. He gets the ball, makes a run, and instead of him having a shot from a weird angle, he cuts it in and scores whoever scores gets an open goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Bro, Anthony, since he's moved to Real Betis, I think he's on like 10 goals and assists.
Yeah, dude. He's
in all competitions.
Double-digit numbers from half a season is an insane amount. And
Yeah.
it shows obviously that there was some quality with him, but they just couldn't get it out of him at Man United.
It just didn't work. It just never worked for him.
And I'll keep saying it, right? Man U is good luck Chuck. Everyone that leaves.
You love saying that.
Dude, because it's so true. You name me a player that's left Man U, and I'll name you a player that's now doing well.
I'll even name you another player that's doing that's left that you never would have thought is doing well. Remember we were talking about Fred?
Yeah.
Bro, he's at Fenerbahce and he's banging in goals for Fenerbahce, bro.
That's what I mean. Because other managers went there. Who am I thinking of? The smiling assassin. The old man, Ole, right? Ole was sitting on. God damn, what's the show with Roy Keane?
Oh, and Ian
Jill
Wright.
and Ian Wright and
Yeah,
Neville. He's on that show and sitting there and he's commenting about how he really liked Fred. And Roy Keane's sitting there. He's like, you fucking serious?
He hated Fred.
He's like, he goes, you see him in the training pitch with the ball. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's an amazing player. And he goes, but it just translates that the Man U club just cannot produce the best out of these players.
Yeah, it's true.
Because they've got some of these gun players that just, I would love to see them in other teams.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're clearly a lot better than what they were.
Yeah.
But look, sidetrack.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the Conference League, man.
But yeah, back to the Conference League. We've got obviously, so Betis go 2-2 in the second leg, pulls it through. They're going through to the final. And then it was pretty clear for you, right? Like you were versing Djurgården.
Yeah, Djurgården. Hey, big team in Sweden, man.
Yeah. Cool, bro. You guys win 1-0 in the second leg, 5-1 on aggregate. It was an easy win.
Look, we won the first leg 4-1. It was done after that.
Yeah.
Right. We go home. We put out a second string team. We just had to get through the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we did.
Yep.
None of our big players played. Sancho got a run. We had a 16-year-old kid start for us. So now he's the youngest starter for Chelsea in a European game ever, which was nice. None of our big players. So we just got through the 90 minutes. So now, look, I think from the start of the season, we pretty much said it was going to be Chelsea versus Betis or Fiorentina. It's come to fruition. It ends up being Betis. And I know it's the Conference League. I think we spoke about this off the air. I know it's the Conference League, but this is a really good final.
No, 100%. It's past, you're not going to covet the trophy to be like, this is one of the best trophies.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good game of football to watch, right? I think Betis is in great form, especially with their attack.
Yeah.
Look, you guys have so many different options that you can put forward in your attack as well. And I think if you see, if you get Cole Palmer firing, if you get Nicholas Jackson linking up with Cole Palmer.
Well, he can play, because he's suspended in the league. But
we
will get into. But
which is stupid.
But look, I just want to bring up Betis again. Manuel Pellegrini is their coach.
Yeah, but again, that's why they're getting such quality.
Yeah, they've still got Isco there, Adrian. I don't know if you remember Adrian.
The goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's from Liverpool.
From Liverpool, yeah. He's their keeper.
Obviously remember that. He was good for us in times.
Yeah, bro, Hector Bellerin's there, Diego Llorente's there. Bro, they've got some players in that. Isco, William Carvajal is there.
They've got experienced players
They've got
played in big
Lo
teams.
Pablo Fornals is there. Bro, they've got players there.
That's what I mean. So it's not I don't think it's a walk in the park for Chelsea.
No.
And if it was a 2-match home and away game, I go Chelsea beats Betis.
Yeah.
Okay, because I can see it. But it's an away. It's away, so it's a neutral ground. Anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything can happen. Will your fans travel? I don't know. I know the Betis fans will travel.
No, our fans are traveling. They're already organised and all that.
Okay.
So
well,
it will be even. But look, obviously, I'm going to back Chelsea in this. I've said it from the start. I think we were hot favourites from the very start, so we should be winning it. But I don't think that this is, like you said, it's not going to be a walk in the park. This is going to be a tough game.
I also see a lot of goals.
I could see. Well, Chelsea can't.
I could see a 3-2.
Chelsea can't keep a clean sheet.
yeah.
I can definitely see a lot of goals in this game as well.
I could see a 3-2. I wouldn't mind seeing an Anthony celebration if he scores, to be honest.
What with the Sonic
Yeah,
Hedgehog?
he runs over to his cameraman. Dude, that guy's working overtime now.
Oh, he's actually doing work
Yeah,
this
he
time.
was on holiday for a couple of years, and now he's just
he's
like,
just
God damn.
he's going, oh, what the fuck is this shit? Now I've got to actually do work.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, here you go.
Yeah. He's just Sonic, bitch. So, dude, look, I think it's a really, really interesting game.
Yeah, and that final will be not next Thursday. It'll be the Thursday after.
The 29th.
29th, right? So it'll be after this final game of the season.
Yeah.
So Chelsea we've got 2 games coming up plus this final. So we've got 3 finals pretty much to play now.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are fighting now for that top 5.
Which we can now go
Jump
into.
I mean, we'll break down each of the games. I think there's a lot of pointless games in this. We can just like pretty much breeze through, right? And if we go through an order, we got the Man City Southampton game. The only point out of this is that Southampton got more points than the worst team ever, being Derby. So
Yes, they have beaten Derby's
Good for
record,
them.
which is good. They're not going to be in the record books for having the worst tally. There was no real like big highlights. The only thing is City had 26 shots, 5 on target. Southampton had 2 shots, none on target. So Edison pretty much did nothing all game.
it did nothing. It was
Yeah.
nil all.
And it was nil all.
Clean sheet out of
And
it.
I think you said before offline that this is Southampton's greatest point ever.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, they're no better point from their season than
Hey,
to get.
they
this
just
point.
beat the champions from last year. They just drew with the champions
Yeah.
from last year. That's excellent for them. Good
Yeah,
work.
They needed it.
It was literally
Yeah.
just 90 minutes of City pressing. But to be fair, they didn't look that good,
Yeah, at all.
which we will talk about in the FA Cup final, which is happening
That's
this week as well.
upcoming as well. There's so much shit
There's a
going
lot
down.
of finals coming up. Yeah.
Well, then we had the Fulham Everton game, and again, this is just a nothing game, right? Like,
Yeah.
Everton take the win 3-1.
Yeah.
And again, like we've said all season, Fulham just play the crap football that the other team's playing. And to be fair, I don't think anyone can play the type of football Everton play as good as Everton. Long balls, goes to Beto. And who do you see score? Beto, after you take him out of your fucking fantasy team.
After like this whole game, there was one point that I did want to bring up is that there was a penalty shout, right? Now this I've never seen this before. There was a penalty shout, ref didn't give the penalty. VAR told the ref to go look at the monitor, and he still didn't give a penalty.
So he went and looked at the monitor.
And he said, "Nah, not a penalty." First time I've ever seen that. It's
Fair
always,
enough.
it's always go straight to the monitor. 95% of the time, you're thinking, yeah, it's definitely gonna be a penalty.
Yeah.
He went. He goes, "No, it's not a penalty." I'm like, "Great."
Yeah,
They should do that more. They shouldn't feel. They shouldn't.
they shouldn't feel compelled.
Yes, they shouldn't feel compelled to be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the VAR wants me to go check it out. I have to give a penalty."
Yep.
This is the first time I've seen a ref go there and be like, "No, I'm not giving a penalty."
Yeah.
Like,
I
great.
disagree with you.
Yeah.
You guys are fools.
Yeah,
Which they should. They should. They're in charge of the game. VAR is not.
correct. They're
If
there
it's
to
an
help.
offside, yes.
Yeah.
If
If it's a clear and
anything
obvious
else,
foul, yes.
well, I mean, yeah. If a guy goes punches somebody, yes.
Well, we will bring up a clear and
Yeah,
obvious
that
foul.
happened.
We will bring it up.
But no, I mean, I commend the ref for doing that, right? I
Same.
would rather the referee go over there, look at the monitor, disagree with VAR, make the mistake, because then it's on you. You're in charge of the game.
Yep.
Don't let VAR be the blame.
Yep. Yep.
Well, then we had the Wolves Brighton game. This was an interesting one, right?
This was, yeah.
I mean, look, it's not much. There's nothing to achieve for either team.
No, because
no.
Brighton can't reach the top. They can't go for Europe. And
No.
Wolves can't get relegated. So, yeah,
So
again, nothing.
it's nothing game, but
Yep.
Brighton managed to win it 2-0.
Yeah.
Which away from home I thought was interesting.
Yeah. So on both goals, so Danny Welbeck scored the first goal. Now
he
I don't know
does.
if you know this. He's been in the league for what, 15 years now.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's ever hit 10 goals in a season.
Really?
First time ever.
You know what? He scores important goals though.
He does, but he doesn't score a lot of them.
He's injured a lot too.
Yeah.
So you got to take that
So-
into account. How many games does he actually ever play in a season?
That's true.
You
Yeah.
know, if he scores one every second game he gets a goal because he only plays 20 games a season. You know,
So yeah, first time ever he's got 10 goals in the season, and the second goal was by this kid called Gouda. First goal in the Premier League, 20 years old.
good cheese.
It is good cheese, yeah. But also, it's the kid's name. Give this guy some credit.
No, I can't. The cheese is better than him. Then we had the Brentford Ipswich game. This went as we thought it was going to go, but to be fair, I thought there'd be more goals.
Yep.
Brentford with a 1-0 win.
Yep. Yeah, Shard continues his strong form. He's been killing at the back end of the year.
I wonder if he moves somewhere. I think that's probably a question whether or not he stays at Brentford another season.
I think Brentford will keep most of their players.
I think they want to.
I think because they're on the cusp of Europe.
Well, they're probably 2 players away from it. They
I
need
think
a
so
big,
as well.
A big centre back that can
Yep.
stop them leaking.
And probably a solid midfielder
Yeah.
to go with like Mbeumo, like someone more defensive to help him
a defensive-minded midfield would really go.
Their attack is great.
Yeah, you wouldn't change a thing about it.
Yeah.
Mbeumo, Wissa,
Yep.
Shard, they all play well together.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, but also they're going to need to reinforce their bench,
Yes.
as any team does.
Did you see Wissa's yellow card?
No.
He went for a scissor kick and kicked the guy in the head. It was a good looking scissor kick, and the guy went like stuck his head out.
As a defender, as you should.
Yeah,
right?
and Wissa just went whack straight in his face. You're like, oh, bro, that sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. It's dangerous play. Then we had the Bournemouth Aston Villa game.
This went as expected.
But look again. Ollie Watkins got the only goal, which was pretty interesting goal. Like
Right before it was literally 30 seconds before halftime.
Yeah,
Like Bournemouth
and
couldn't hold on.
it was. Yeah, but again, it came off a nothing cross, right? Like there wasn't much going on. They dispossessed. They dispossessed the Bournemouth player. Semenyo. It was Semenyo with the ball. He was fucking about with it, and this is why you just don't let strikers have the ball in their own half because they love to fuck about with it.
He got it, and yeah, you're right. He tried to play with it, gets the ball taken off him in 10 seconds, and like 5 seconds later, Watkins scores.
Yeah, Watkins gets like his baby toe on it that then sneaks it in. And then you get bloody Ramsey getting 2 yellows.
Yeah, look, Ramsey got a red card in the 80th minute. I think it was for a tug, like his second yellows for pulling back on someone, which is pretty silly.
I think he got the first yellow for pulling back on someone. Then the second one, he's tried to jump across him and
he's kind of pulled him at the same time.
Yeah, he's got his arm there. It's silly.
It is silly,
It's just a silly. When you're on a yellow card, it's just silly to, especially when you're up 1-0 in the 80th minute, right?
Yeah.
It's just silly. And now he's going to probably miss the rest of the season. Well,
he'll miss one game.
He'll miss one game, and whether or not then he makes the squad to play in the next game, who knows, right? His replacement could play the last game, depending on where they're at in the table.
Yeah.
Then we had the Newcastle-Chelsea game.
Yes.
Not great for you guys.
No, bro. It was. I was watching the pre-game, and the Newcastle St James's Park was pumping.
Yeah.
They were pumped for this, right? And we did not handle it at all. Tonali scores in the second minute, which was the reason why is Lavia had the ball. He loses it just outside the box, and he tracks the ball. He follows the ball, which leaves Tonali free on the back post. So that's how Tonali got. And then Murphy crosses it in. Tonali
I also
wide
think
open.
you guys paused for that penalty shout when
for Gordon.
Salcedo comes and dispossesses Gordon. It's not a penalty, right?
No.
Like he got the ball fairly.
Yep.
Tough challenge, but got the ball.
Yep.
And I just feel that you guys just paused for a split second to see what was going to get called there, whereas the Newcastle guys just went hammer and tong to try and get the ball when it goes across to Tonali. Good finish, though, to be fair.
Very good finish,
I thought he was going to fuck it, but then hits the ball into the ground and over
it
the
pops
keeper.
over,
Good goal, right? Good goal from Newcastle.
Yeah. And then the turning point, because I think, look, the first half Chelsea weren't really into it, right? They were all over us. They were keeping possession. They were taking the ball off us. We had nothing in attack, right? And I think this is where the red card comes from, because Jackson gets red carded. So first he gets a yellow card, then they go to VAR, and you clearly see he's looking at, I think it was Shah.
Yeah.
He's looking at Shah as he's running forward. He's looking at Shah, not even at the ball. And then he puts his elbow up and pretty much digs his elbow into his neck. And you're like, that's a red card.
It just told me. So I watched it in fast motion, and I'm like, I didn't even go for the ball.
Yeah.
That's a yellow card.
Yep.
And then they look at him fight, then they slow it down and they zoom in, and you just see him. He's got no attempt to jump for the ball.
No.
He's got no eye on the ball, or he's led with his elbow, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
What was the purpose of it?
I don't know.
It was.
I think it was just pure frustration.
And
And
you
he
could
did
see-
nothing for 40 minutes.
And you could see by his reaction when the VAR turned it into red, there was no complaining. He looked at him and just walked off.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And he's now going to miss the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's out for the rest of the season. Automatic 3-game ban, which put us on the back foot. We got to halftime, and look, I will give Chelsea credit. We played so much better in the second half. They changed the tactics around where the wing backs were going further up, so Gusto and Kukurea were bombing up forward more. And we did have a couple good chances, but obviously nothing came of it. And then Bruno, who had a running battle with Enzo Fernandez all game, Brazilian and Argentinian.
Yeah.
They had a running battle all game. And I'm like, of all the fucking players to score, had to be Bruno.
And to be fair, what a goal.
It was deflected, but it right over Sanchez in the top corner.
Top end.
Yeah, what can you do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. So Newcastle walked away with the win, which pushes them up to third.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which hurts. Well, we'll go through what the table looks like at the
yep.
end, but then we had the Man U West Ham game, and Man U rested their players. They had Ahmad come back, which is positive for him.
Yep.
But again, the only two players doing anything attack were Ahmad and Bruno.
And Bruno,
only two players getting on the ball.
All Bruno was doing was just shooting from wherever.
Yeah.
And they were all pinging. They were just pinging everywhere. You can
that's
just
what I mean.
tell.
If he has
you just tell they're just like, fuck, let's just get this season over and done with.
That's it. And then West Ham do their thing. They get 2 goals.
Yep.
Jared Bowen gets another one.
Hey, he's been killing at the back end of the season, but West Ham's just doing West Ham. They stay promoted. Bowen gets his stats up.
Yeah.
Doing a captain's run. So yeah, it was good little win for West Ham.
Then we had the Forest City game. Now this is an interesting one.
Wasn't expecting this. Definitely wasn't expecting this result.
No, I mean, to be fair, I would have tipped Forest to keep a clean sheet against Leicester City. Leicester's struggled to score,
especially Forest at home. Definitely.
Yes, yeah. Well, and especially Forest in the position that they're looking to do. Not only that, it's Leicester scored first.
And also, before we continue about the game, they played after Chelsea, so they knew that if they won, they would jump Chelsea.
But that's probably a lot more pressure on them, right? Like they've seen that, they just go, okay, we need to win this. Seeing the pressure, and then you can see that some errors were made, right? And Leicester capitalised on the errors.
Yeah, they did.
They did. They capitalised on the errors, but they scored a couple of nice goals. Gibbs White gets a goal.
Gibbs White off the free kick, yep. And then Woods got his header.
Gets a header
off Morgan Gibbs White. Yep.
But I think the big talking point of the game, right? Obviously, the draw is there. Is the manager entering the pitch at the end of the game?
Yes. So you sent that to me, and I thought the first thing I thought was that the owner was having a dig at Nuno Espirito Santos for drawing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was the exact same thing I thought too.
I thought he was having a dig at the owner. And my first reaction was, that's a dick move considering that Forest, which they are now official that they are playing in Europe for the first time ever. First time in 30 years, right? So it's official now. But I thought, why would you have a dig at now I understand they're pushing for Champions League, but you're playing in Europe. That's a great start for Forest, right? So I thought, why would you have a dig at the coach who's done such an amazing job with this team, right? Why would you have a dig at him, right? Turns out that wasn't the reason why he blew up at. Well, not blew up. That's not the reason why he confronted him, right? So it came out later that. So during the game, Awoniyi. I got it.
Close enough. I'm not getting better, so I'm going to go with you.
So during the game, it was 2-2 at this stage. They've crossed it in, and he's gone to get the ball, missed it, but has absolutely clattered into the post.
Yeah,
like fucked himself up. Right?
It looked bad.
It was, like all the post shook from that. So they've the doctors or the medical staff have checked him out, and they've said he's good to go. Now, while they're doing that, Nuno has done a sub for someone else. Awoniyi has come back on, and like 1 minute later, he's like, "Nah, I can't. I got to go."
Yeah.
So now he's had to go off. Problem was, the sub that they made was the last sub that they had. So Forest had to play with 10 men for the last 10 minutes, including injury time, which when you're chasing for another goal and Leicester nearly scored, right, you don't want.
No.
Now, unfortunately, some news has come up that now he's in a coma.
No, he's in an induced coma.
Induced coma.
Right, because he's got internal injuries from
which was from the post, yeah.
From the post. So I mean, not only is it a player safety issue, right? But then it's also that they're trying to chase the win.
Yes.
So it was probably poor decision, but it's not Nuno's not to know at the time, right?
Well, he would have gotten word from the medical staff being like, "No, he said he's okay to go."
Yeah.
So you can only go off what the medical staff says. And then obviously he's tried to go on and run, and he's just been like, "No, I can't even run. Like, I'm fucked, right?"
Something's wrong.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they already used their last sub. Nothing you can really do about it, right? And then the owner, he's come out with a statement, and he said that, you know, the most important thing is the player's safety and the club.
Yeah, and I've been saying this as well. I think that the Forest, because he's very kind of emotive, the Forest owner, right? He's a great guy, obviously very wealthy, but gets very emotive. But I think he's a good owner for the club. He's obviously done a lot of good things, but he gets a bad rap in the press because of, one, the way he dresses, and two, the way he acts.
Well, he does give off that, like, the way he dresses. Like, he rocked up on the field. He had just a plain white T-shirt on with jeans and sneakers, and he has like a fucking iPhone 10 that still has the cord with the corded headphones. And you're like, dude, you're a fucking owner. Like, get an iPhone, whatever's out there now. But no, he doesn't want to do that, right?
Doesn't care. That's why he's got his money.
Yeah. So what's his name? Evangelos Marinakis. And then he's also owned by Socrates Pominakis. So owned by Greeks.
A couple of Arcuses.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
But yeah. Look,
Well, I mean,
it's good that he clarified what was going on. To kind of, because
I think it was necessary to clarify what was going on, because it did look like he was trying to blame Nuno for the season he's had. But to be fair, even if he finishes outside of Champions League, they've had an amazing season.
Dude, it's a great season, and like now that it's official,
another ex-Spurs coach that's managed to go on and do great things.
He was a Spurs coach,
an ex-Spurs coach that's gone on and done great things. That's another good luck Chuck team, but for managers, not for players. And then we had them. I mean, in good form, we had Tottenham and Palace. And I think we all picked this one, right?
Yep.
Tottenham's rested all their players.
Yeah.
They're definitely not going for what's happened in the season and cop injuries. Crystal Palace just played the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
Got their goals. Eze had a great game.
Yep.
And they managed to beat them 2-0.
Yeah. And then Eze got a double, scored just before halftime and just after halftime. So he's now bringing that form into the FA Cup, which is going to be real interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So, but yeah, Eze is, we were talking at the start of the season, like, you can see he's doing a lot of good things. He's just not getting the goals.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to show, and that could cause real problems for Man City.
Well, I mean, we'll jump into the FA Cup after this, but yeah, look, I think it is going to be a problem. And then the last game of the round.
Yep.
Another nothing game.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
not for you guys.
Not for us, right?
Sorry, for you guys it was. Well, it kind of wasn't. Like, for you guys, you got to celebrate in front of Anfield for the first time.
We got a guard of honour from
Got the guard
Arsenal.
of honour.
That's a nice
but for
burn
Arsenal,
job.
they're still competing for the top 5. I know they're coming second. They're in the best position, but they still needed to get points.
Well, I mean, if they lose to Newcastle this week, they've dropped to third.
Yes.
So we'll look at it. But, I mean, look, the way the game went, we went up 2-0. Gakpo gets a goal. He's our second highest goal scorer for the season.
Dude, did you see Gakpo's goal? So, like...
Dude, it was a belter of a header.
He nearly... So, I think he had it saved? So he missed the chance before.
Yeah.
Right? And then 5 seconds later, throw it in, and then they cross it, and he's like, bang, just cracks it in.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck just happened there?
Yeah.
And then, like, I think, what was it, 87 seconds later, Diaz scored. And you're like, I went, what the fuck is going on?
But this is what's happened to Arsenal throughout the season. That they have these mini collapses in the game where they I don't know if it's Arteta going to, we need to change what we're doing, and then in mid-change,
just confusing them.
We're getting a goal because it's happened in multiple games.
That sounds like a total Arteta thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a total Arteta thing to do.
Yeah, like he's a goddamn tactical genius. Fucking idiot.
So who invented the light again?
Yeah.
Thomas Edison.
Oh, bro. I'll never, imagine, like, because you know that there was one player there that it's only just learned English or whatever, and he's like, he's like on the next player. No, but dear.
Does he use the light for something else?
Yeah. He invented this, and you'd be like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, what do you want about, bro?
Yeah, like, what?
The guy thinks he's fucking inventing the wheel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He wants him there like 3 hours before the game so he can talk to him about fucking light bulbs.
Bro, I'd fall asleep, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the difference. Slot allows them to sleep.
Yeah.
Slot goes, have the extra hours sleep because you'll be more energized to play better.
No, but Arteta's like, no, I have lessons to teach you.
Yeah, like
come in an hour early, like it's a fucking, like it's a uni session.
Like when what was the other one when he went to play us and he played You Never Walk Alone during the
during the training session.
Yeah, because we need you to get used to this. I'm like, are you insane? I go, anyway. Then look, obviously, Arsenal managed to claw back the game. Gabriel Martinelli gets a goal. He was left alone in the box.
Van Dijk just let him run, and that's where you know that you guys are on holiday.
Yeah,
because Van Dijk's just like, whatever.
Yeah, and no one even goes, damn.
Yeah, they're just like,
they just
go,
okay.
Oh well.
Yeah, and then Marino gets a deflection. To be fair, Odegaard's shot was a nice one.
Nice
Good
shot,
save by Alisson onto the post.
Yeah.
And again, our guys don't even react.
Yeah, they're just
They
going,
don't even run for it. Like, you just see run in and get the goal. They're like, yeah, and they're celebrating like crazy. Look, there was some disappointment in there.
Yeah.
And then, 9 minutes later, Marino goes and gets a second yellow red card.
Ooh, bad lunge.
It was terrible.
I thought it was the first tackle. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that might be a yellow. And then he does it again.
Yeah, and you're like, well, that's definitely a yellow.
That's definitely the yellow
Yeah,
card.
but what I found surprising from that is that the ball, because Soboslai plays the ball, which is the challenge onto him, goes through to Darwin Núñez. He's unmarked. He could have just scored, but he missed.
Wait, you were surprised by that?
Well, I mean, fuck. He has moments. So he misses a goal, and you think, oh, well, that's fucking shit. we could have beaten him. Not that it matters.
Yeah, no, that matters. It just would have been another little
Well,
tip,
would have been a nice
tip on the
little
hat.
thing before Darwin fucks off, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then we have the end of the game, and this annoyed me actually, right? That Robbo, who bro, like, all right, he hasn't had the greatest season.
No, he's had a terrible season.
But he fucking tries.
He does.
He tries the hardest on the pitch. He'll put in the most effort. All right, he makes a lot of fucking mistakes. He does not suit slot
This season
system.
he has, yeah.
He doesn't suit slot system because it's not an up and back system anymore. He needs to be able to slot inside a few times in the game. He needs to be able to pass and move a lot better. And just, he's not that type of player.
No.
Right? So, you know, I do envision him that he'll most likely be going at the end of the season. And if he doesn't, he'll get demoted down to the bench.
To the bench.
Which I think he'll be fine to do.
Yeah.
But he gets a goal off a corner. Van Dijk gets a header, saves. Robbo puts it in, goes to have his big celebration, only for the goal to be overturned because Konate's a fucking moron. He's got his hands
Lewis Skelly.
Lewis Skelly. He's got his hands in his face, shoving him to the ground, and you're like, dude.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
Do you think Lewis Skelly's beating anyone to a header?
No,
He's not beating you to the header.
Yeah.
Right? You got Konate and Van Dijk there. It's the exact spot that it's going to. And you're trying to tell me Lewis Skelly's going to out header Van Dijk? It's just not happening. It's a pointless foul. And we probably should have won this game. And if we did, there would have been even points with
Newcastle?
With Newcastle.
You were about to say with
I was about to say Tottenham. I wish that'd be even better.
But just one point that I did want to bring up is Trent's first return to Anfield since he's made his call.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys were relentless on him.
We'll
Every
boo
time
the
he
shit
got
out
on
of
the
him.
ball, it was like an away game.
Dude, when he came on the pitch, we booed him, and then as soon as he got the ball, we booed the shit out of him. I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
I understand it, and if he doesn't understand it, being a Liverpool local, then you know, look, that's on him.
Yeah.
Because I think if he was on the opposite
On the flip side,
right? If
yeah.
he didn't make it as the player and was the fan, he'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because we obviously held him in such high regard. I don't think anyone else in the world holds him in such high regard as us as fans do. So that's where we feel cheated. That essentially his ego and his kind of his prowess comes from how much we've hyped him up. It's definitely not from how many tackles he makes because he's literally the most dribbled past fullback in the world. And look, all right, his attacking quality is very good, but he is in the defensive line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you look at other players like Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, who we lose to, they manage to do both, right? They don't have such an attacking prowess. I mean, they score more goals than him.
I think they do.
They do. Yeah, you know what? I stand corrected, actually, now that I think about it. They score more goals than him and they get more assists than him. So, you know, it's But why don't we just look at what the top four run-in looks like?
Well, sorry, before we get into the top seven or a top five, how many did you get this week?
I got, let me have a check. I think I got 4 this week.
All right. If you did.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. Yeah. If you did, well, you did. I got 5.
We're even points.
Which means we're even now.
We're even tips.
And we've only got 20 games left. So, yeah, pressure's on now.
Pressure's on. I think at one point I had like an 11-point lead. I've done the same thing with my fantasy, to be fair. It's like
ever since Bali.
Yeah, dude. I came back from Bali. I've just been shocking. It's like this.
I think your football mind stayed in Bali and your body just came back.
Yeah. I'm still technically in Bali. But let's look at the run-in. Obviously, Liverpool's first, that's it.
Yep.
Right? So now we're talking about from 2nd through to 7th, what's going to happen. Now, my money's on Arsenal winning at least one of their games, confirming that they will be in the top 5.
Well, let me bring up the I'll bring up the fixtures for the Premier League, so that way we kind of know who's playing who. So look, Arsenal have Newcastle, and then Arsenal have Southampton away. Now you would assume that they would at least get a point against Southampton, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would put them at 69 minimum, which
69.
is enough to get into the top 7. Now
It's enough to get into the top 6.
Top
Their
six,
goal
sorry, top six,
To the
yeah.
top 6, which obviously gives them the Europe.
Yeah.
But they do need to get. Look, they need one win. They get one win, they're in Champions
which we
League.
would
That's it.
assume. Look, if they can beat Newcastle, that solves their problem, and they can chill out for the
Yeah.
for the Southampton game. But if they don't, they've still got Southampton, and you would assume they would win that.
Well, I always think, right, the funny is obviously the game. If Newcastle beat Arsenal,
Yes,
right, then
which is highly possible.
Arsenal don't even get to be the bridesmaids.
Which they've been bragging about all
They-
year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So that means they lose their hat trick of seconds.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, and
That'd be a shame.
and the stats of him every season that he's had them getting a bit worse is true. Right? They just keep getting worse. And then and apparently in a weak league, they weren't even able to come second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well-
my money's on fucking Newcastle.
Well, look,
Fuck Arsenal,
Newcastle and Arsenal have played 3 times this year, and Newcastle's won 3 times this year. They could make it a quaddie
dude. Yeah.
of
And
wins.
Newcastle is St James Park.
No, it's in Arsenal.
Is it?
This is at Emirates. So huge game.
It is too.
Huge
My
game.
bad.
Huge
My
game,
bad.
though. But look, Newcastle's last game is against Everton at home. So they're on 66. They're probably going to need at least 1 win to get to officially qualify.
Yeah.
Possibly 4 points, which they could get a draw against Arsenal and a win against Everton. So they should solidify
Well,
their
yeah,
top,
I
their
mean,
top
look,
5.
Subject to the result there, I do see Newcastle, Arsenal staying in that top 5.
Yep.
Then we've obviously got Man City, Chelsea, Villa, and Forest.
Right. So City have the FA Cup final, which we'll get into.
Mhm.
Right. Now, I don't know whether that'll affect them or not, that extra game. But let's say it does. So City play Bournemouth at home, which you would assume they're going to,
I can see
They're
that
gonna
being
do-
a 1-0 win, Haaland goal.
yeah, right. But then they play Fulham away in the last game. Now, Fulham, as we know, have been so mediocre, right, for probably the past couple months.
But they disrupt us, dude.
They are disruptors. So whether they can pull a point out from them or not, we shall see. But again, I still think City will be in that top 5.
And so, I mean, realistically, I think we're talking about 3 teams battling it out for one spot, right?
Yes.
You got Forest, Villa, and Chelsea.
Yes.
You guys obviously have the conference, which I think's lucky that it's after the league.
So do I.
I think
So
you're
do I.
lucky in that sense.
Yep.
I
I think it's worked out well that the Europa League final is played during the season, and the other comps are played after the season, the Conference League, because Tottenham and Man U have nothing to play for. Play it as early as possible. They just want to get the season over and done
Yeah.
with. But for us, luckily for us, so we can focus on the league for the next 2 games, and then we can focus on the Conference League after.
So, yeah, look, there's 3 teams battling it out. I mean, look, I think you're going to obviously go with Chelsea.
Yeah, well, look, we've got Man U at home this week, and I do think Man U will rest all their players for the Europa League, so I see no reason why we can't win. And if we don't, there's going to be majorly disappointing that we won't be able to beat a second-string Man U team.
Yep.
The other game we play, which will blend into this one, is Forest away
It's a huge game,
Yes.
depending what Forest can do this week
against West Ham away.
against West Ham away.
Yes. Now, I do actually think, which we'll get into when we do our things, that it will be a draw, right? Which will put them. Sorry, I just want to see the points that they'll get. So if they're on
They'll be
63, and if we win, we'll be on 66, which will put us above Forest, which means that they can't get to 5th.
Forest need to win this week.
They need to win this week,
If Forest win this week, it goes into the final day, and it'll be very competitive.
Yeah, that's
around
right,
Who
yeah.
gets 5th?
Yeah.
Because look, like I said, if Forest drop points in this game, they're out of Champions League. They'll still be in Europe.
Yes.
But they'll be out of Champions League.
Yep.
And then it's a battle between Chelsea and Villa.
Yep.
Realistically, depending on
And-
what the score is there.
Yep. And with Villa, look, they're playing Tottenham this week at home, and I fully expect to win.
Yep.
Same with us. Both Tottenham and Man U will be resting all their players for the
Yep.
final. And in the final day, Villa will play Man U away. And again, look, if Man U win the Europa League, it could be like a celebratory thing, and they could disrupt Villa. But if they lose, it is going to be dire, and Villa will smoke the shit out of them and put a final nail in the coffin of this season for Man U.
100%.
So I expect Aston Villa to win both their games, but I also expect Chelsea to win both their games. So I've got Chelsea as 5th, Villa as 6th. So the way it is right now, look, the top 5, Newcastle and Arsenal could swap, and City could be around there, but I expect Chelsea to be 5th, Villa to be 6th, Forest to be 7th.
Yeah.
That would be my predicted
it's
table.
almost to stay in the status quo, except there'd be a swap between Arsenal and...
Yeah, that's how I could see it.
That's, look, I tend to agree. I would like
maybe
to see
City,
Forest.
maybe City could be.
I would
in there
like to see
too.
Forest come up, but again, we'll know after this round essentially how it's going to land. I think.
Like I said before, Chelsea have 3 finals. We've got 3 finals now. We've got Man U, we've got Forest, and we've got Betis. Right?
Yeah.
We need to win all 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't win all 3 games, it's a failure of the season.
Yeah. Well, the hardest is that you've lost Jackson.
Yes, we have lost Jackson. So now what we're going to do with that...
I imagine you have Neto up front, right?
I'd imagine Neto up front because Nkunku was pretty much out of the club. He's done.
Yeah.
Right? And but when he was there, he didn't do shit anyway. The only other player I could see would be Mark Gee. He's our 19-year-old striker that we got from Barca.
Okay, you're going to play a 19-year-old in such a big game?
Yeah. No, look, he's a good player, but whether he's fit or not, because he's just coming back from a 3-month hamstring injury.
Yeah.
That's going to be the problem,
So,
right? If he's not fit,
Neto
we play
seems
Neto.
like the logical option.
Yeah, I think Neto will start.
And then we've obviously got the FA Cup final coming up on Sunday, which is a huge game, right? City's in another FA Cup final.
This is now what 7 in 9 years or something. Oh no, sorry, I think it was seven semi-finals in 8 years, or 8 semi-finals in 9 years. But they're going for another FA Cup, which I think if they win will be their 5th or 6th under Guardiola.
To be fair, I'm going for Palace because I think Palace is in more form. I'd love to see Palace in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Right?
I would love to see Palace in Europa League too.
Because they'll qualify for the Europa League if they win this. And I think if anyone has a chance of beating City, I think what's going for City is they're not conceding goals. Right? Like we said, they've conceded 1 in 5 or something.
1 in 5.
But again, Palace has managed to score in all their last 5 games. Right, multiple goals. Eze's on fire.
Yep.
Mateta's
Sarr has picked up.
Ismaila Sarr is playing very well.
Yeah.
Munoz is in the
right.
form of his season.
Yep.
And I think they're building to the win, whereas I think Man City are just stabilising themselves, ready for next season.
Yep.
So, look, my money's on Palace, but that's purely from me wanting them to win. That's not based on looking at their teams or anything like that. It's a neutral stadium of Wembley, and anything can happen at Wembley.
If there's one player that is going to help Palace lift this trophy, it's going to be Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson needs to have a big fucking game.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he has had a lot of good games lately. He has picked up form, and him and Munoz. I think Munoz is the wild card in this. If City can stifle his attack
too, right? Like Mateta, since coming back from the
Sweet Chin Music,
Sweet Chin Music, he just has not performed. I mean, right.
He got knocked.
scored.
He got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, he wanted to come back earlier too. And look, bro, he has scored, but it's not. Eze's been taking the reins, and Eze's been doing the run, whereas Mateta was doing it prior to that.
True.
So again, if they start gelling, they're a hard team to beat. They're definitely a hard team to stop scoring.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, Haaland's just come back and he's not at 100%. So see how it goes, but I'll definitely be watching.
Yeah, I'll be watching this game. Look, it's 1:30 in the morning, but this is a very important game, and I'm very, very interested to see how City can see if they can stop this Man City FA Cup juggernaut that's been going on for nearly a decade.
But as well, they know how to win, right? Like they know how to win these games.
Yeah.
And Palace is green when it comes to this type of game. So interested to see. Yeah. But onto why don't we just give our tips? Oh, sorry.
No, not done yet.
No, we're not done yet. There is more football.
There is still a lot more football.
Well, we had the EFL Championships.
Yes, the championship playoffs.
So obviously, what is it? Leeds and Burnley.
Leeds and Burnley came first and second. They both got 100 points.
Automatic promotion.
Yep,
they're going through. Then we had Sunderland versus Coventry.
Yep. So
and then Sheffield versus Bristol.
Yes.
Now we'll just skip through Sheffield versus Bristol. They won 3-0 both games.
Yes.
Okay, red card in the first game
Yep.
that helped them away. But
It was a red card and a pen, which made it 1-0, and then Sheffield just went ham after that.
Yeah.
3-0 away in the first leg, and everybody just said, it's done after that. To be
it's
fair, Sheffield were third, and that's why Bristol was sixth.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between.
yeah, 100%. So look, they'll go through to the final.
Yep.
But the huge one was Sunderland versus Coventry. So as we know, Coventry, Frank Lampard. I know you wanted to see him
so
go
disappointed
through.
in this.
I know you wanted to see him go through.
Bro.
Because what? He picked them up when they were
Fourth last.
fourth last.
They were fourth last when he came in. I think it was in like October or November he came in. Right now, obviously, there's a lot of games, but he turned them from fourth last to fifth.
Yeah.
That is an amazing turnaround.
Amazing
right?
story. And then, dude, he got so close to beating Sunderland.
Well, the first leg was in Coventry, right?
Mhm.
And they lost the first leg 2-1.
Mhm.
So they were behind the 8 ball already. But they went to Sunderland and they got a win, 1-0, right? Which took it to extra time, right? And you're thinking, right, even if you just get to penalties, you take your shot in penalties, right?
Well, the pressure's on Sunderland at that stage.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Coventry's the one going, we're here. We have the hope to beat them. The pressure's all on Sunderland. You know, like no one likes to do penalties at their home ground. No one does because the pressure's
There's
all
so
on
much
you.
pressure, yeah.
Right? It's all on you. It's all your fans watching you. When you're away from home, you get that, all right, the fans are jeering you, but that's almost like a G-up, right?
Yeah.
And then that final kick of the game.
122nd minute.
Cross
Fucking
goes
corner goes in and the guy scores it off a
But
header.
to be fair,
Did you see the header?
it was a nice header, but he's completely
He's
unmarked.
like this.
Yeah.
Like his head is pretty much. He looks like he's sucking his own dick, and he's headed it in the top corner. You've just gone, bro. Like,
But he's completely
Ow.
unmarked. He's the biggest player on the pitch,
yeah,
and you've left him completely unmarked at
Yeah.
the front post. Come on, dude.
yeah, I know.
You
I
know, like the discussion from Frank Lampard should have been like, you fucked up.
yeah,
This was not anything that I could have done.
Yep.
He goes, I got you to this point,
Yep.
and you lost it for yourself.
yeah.
You did. You allowed the tallest player. It's like when Newcastle, when
With Burn,
with Burns scored against us, and we have Alexis McAllister on him. That's our fault.
Yeah.
Right? That's our fault. All right, we're doing a zonal defense. Switch it up.
yes,
Okay?
Yeah.
You go, oh, hang on. Alexis is like, should I be marking this guy?
yeah.
You
See
know?
this guy?
Yeah.
He's like a foot taller than me. Does anybody
Yeah.
else want him? No, zonal marking.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, damn. Exactly what I thought would happen
Yeah.
happened. So
Um,
now we go into the playoff championships. The championship playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Bit dyslexic.
Either or.
Yeah.
Well, this is. Look, I am very disappointed for Frank. He
Well, I
did.
would like to see Coventry, right? Because they haven't been in the Premier League in, oh, God.
Jeez, but I don't think we were even alive when they were probably in the Premier
I've
League.
never seen them play.
I can't remember them playing in the Premier League.
In the Premier League.
Yeah.
Would have liked to see them. Hopefully they can do better next year. Maybe he gets a bit of money.
I am disappointed in, like, you know, it's like a comeback story. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to have your final, your finale, and Frank's not going to get it because of a goal in the 120. Now, if you lose on pens, bro, you cop it, right?
Yeah.
But 122nd minute is just a burn. But
Well, it is because it's concentration. They lost concentration.
They lost concentration with last
But-
kick of the game, like you said.
To be fair, there's still a story to be told out of this, right? Sunderland.
Till we die, baby.
Hey, dude, you felt for them, right? Like they were once a team that sat there almost like the Southamptons of the world back in the. Well, they were the Sunderland, Southampton.
Like-
they were just teams that sat in the middle of the table. They were always consistent. They
So
were
kind of
hard
like
to beat.
West Ham,
Almost
Brighton
like a
now
Stoke
type of
back
thing.
in the day.
Yeah,
they
Stoke back
they
in
were
the day,
hard
yeah.
to beat,
Yeah.
and they were a good club. And they overspent their money. Remember they had Shaqiri at a stage. No, so that was
No.
Stoke. They had
Wadwell.
Jack Rodwell.
Yeah.
They got Jack Rodwell, paid him and overs to remain at the
From
club.
City. He came from City. Yeah.
right? They get relegated. They try to get rid of him. He wouldn't stay.
No, he wouldn't go.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Stayed at the club. Ended up costing them too much. They couldn't bring other players in. Wage bill was fucked. They got relegated not only to the Championship but down to League One,
Mm-hmm.
and they fought their way back. I do want to see Sunderland win this game
Mm-hmm.
because I think Sheffield's yo-yoed in the last few years.
Bro, they're a massive yo-yo club.
Yeah.
Massive yo-yo club. I see if Sheffield does win this, they will get relegated. I don't see them staying in the Premier League.
No, I don't either.
Um,
But I think Sunderland has the following that they potentially could.
We need a season 3 of Sunderland till I die.
Yes, yes.
And this should be
the
it.
return of
Well,
Sunderland.
it should be that they should start it with them winning the championship and then them coming back into the Premier League if this happens. But this is called the richest game in world football.
Yeah.
This is a $600 million game.
Yeah.
You win this, you get that APL money, and $600 million.
Yeah. Well, and it's across 2 seasons too, right? Because even if you do yo-yo, you get the
that
parachute payment as they come down, which allows them to come back up and stay within that wealth.
Yes.
Right? Which is obviously another one why it sucks for Coventry because it changes the whole club future.
Well, yeah, Coventry isn't a massive club, right? They're not like a big club, even in championships. Like, things like Blackburn, right? Like Blackburn's a pretty big club still, but they can't get out of the championship. Sunderland is a pretty big club, and because they had 35,000 attendance, like a stadium,
seat
stadium, but they're playing teams that have like 15,000. You're going like 35,000 is so much for League One.
Yep.
So like these are big clubs. So it would have been nice for Coventry to have that shot. But look, like you said, we do have Sunderland Sheffield, the biggest game in world football, the most richest game in world football. So I am obviously, look, it's a playoff. This is a massive game. I'll watch it.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, I'm going for Sunderland on this one.
Well, since you're going for Sunderland, I'll go for Sheffield.
All right. Let's see who wins, bitch. All
right. Now we can do tips.
Match day 37.
All right.
Right. Even points. See where we end up. So first game of the round, we've got Villa and Tottenham.
Yep. So look, I got Villa.
I've got Villa too.
Again, like we said before, I expect Tottenham to rest everybody. And Villa are pushing for top 5. Villa.
Yeah. Then we've got Chelsea versus Man U. Yeah,
Chelsea.
I've gone Chelsea.
What I just said about the Villa game, I repeat for the Chelsea game.
Fundamentally. Then we've got Everton, Southampton. And like I've done all year, I am not tipping Southampton ever. So I'm going Everton.
I'm also going Everton.
Then we have West Ham, Nottingham.
Yep.
I've gone Nottingham. I think that they're going to pull something out.
They have to if they want to compete, right?
I think so. I think with the injury of the other player, with the spirit of the manager entering the pitch, I think they're really going to push hard. Gibbs White's on fire. I'm going Nottingham.
I'm sticking with a draw. I think, look, West Ham have picked up lately. I think this will be a tight game, and I just hope West Ham can keep it tight so that, look, they can push. Like, Forest could push, but they might not get anywhere. So I'll go with the draw.
Then we've got Brentford, Fulham.
It's
a nothing game.
Like we've been saying all like for pretty much half a season now. Fulham have just been playing like dog's balls.
Yeah,
and
Brentford's playing well, so I'm going Brentford.
I'll go Brentford, yep.
Then we've got Leicester and Ipswich.
Okay, look. This is, again,
cares?
nothing game. Like the rest of these are nothing games, right? I have a draw, but I have a bet. Jamie Vardy is on 199. He needs one more damn goal. What better time to get a goal than at home? Your last home game in the Premier League. Get your goal. So I'm putting money on him to score a goal, but also to get first goal scorer.
And for the opposite reason, for the same reason, I've actually picked Leicester to win.
Yeah.
I could see it being a 1-0 Jamie Vardy penalty.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd be cool with that.
I could just see a 1-0 Jamie Vardy penalty like the 80-something minute. I could just see it happening. Then we've got Arsenal-Newcastle.
Very interesting game. Look, Newcastle is absolutely on fire. I've gone draw to keep things interesting.
I've gone Newcastle.
Yeah, dude.
I was not convinced.
Newcastle can go for the quaddie this year.
No Marino.
Yes, no Marino. So who's their striker? Shit.
Trossard.
I think he might be. He's got a yellow on his name in fantasy. He's got a knock.
So
does he play? Yeah.
That's what I mean. And it's got to be Martinelli.
I don't know who they play a striker.
That's what I mean. That's why I've gone Newcastle. Newcastle's got their full squad.
Mm-hmm.
They're confident as shit.
Yep.
And Arsenal against us in that first half,
woeful.
Were terrible, dude. They couldn't stop us, and we're playing like we don't care.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Newcastle, who do care and are playing like they care, Aaron Gordon's going to have a field day.
I reckon Ishak could have a good game. Actually, this could be Ishak's welcoming party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Arsenal will pull out the checkbook and they do eventually go for Ishak, this could be like I'm coming here and I'm going to fucking make sure you know it.
So, I've gone Newcastle.
Yep.
Then we've got Brighton and Liverpool.
I've gone Brighton.
I've also gone Brighton.
I think, bro, your cunts are full in party mode.
Dude, they're in Dubai.
That's awesome.
There's no training sessions.
Hey, they've earned it.
Yeah.
You've won the championship, you've earned it.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see Salah play.
Yep.
I think Salah will play because he wants to get the goals.
He still needs to get that goal or assist. I still can't believe he hasn't got it yet.
Wow,
It's been 2 games. I thought he would have got 1 by now.
Yeah. So look, I think you'll see Salah play. I think Van Dijk will play maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think it's going to be like Conor Bradley starting. You're going to have a whole bunch of
Kwanzaa will
juniors.
probably start. Maybe even
That's
Kelleher
probably-
might start. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for your big players to play an away game of Brighton.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It means nothing.
Exactly,
So,
yep.
yeah, I think Brighton gets a win there.
Yep.
You've got Palace and Wolves. Look, Palace playing the FA Cup.
That's what will be the big thing, right? Is after the FA Cup, how do Palace and City back up?
Yeah, and look, that's the hard one there. I've gone draw.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could just see it being like 0-0.
Yep.
I could see it being 1-1, like
Yep.
just something very small. But it's dependent on the FA Cup what happens.
Yeah. I've gone Palace. Look, I think Wolves. Wolves played Brighton at home last week, and they looked okay, but I feel like they're kind of like gone as well. Whereas Palace might be in form depending on the FA Cup. So I've gone
Again, it's hard to judge. We're
Yeah.
almost guessing on these two, right?
Pretty much,
And this
yeah.
could be the swing. Then we've got the last one: Man City, Bournemouth.
Yep.
I've gone Man City.
Same.
Yeah.
I look-
Bournemouth just haven't been in great form.
No,
I think
Bournemouth.
they make silly mistakes.
Bournemouth, I feel like maybe for like maybe the past couple months, they've kind of just dogged it. They've just kind of not really given a shit. Because if you look at like their form, right? So Bournemouth, they've won. I mean, look, they've won 2 games in the past like fucking 13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's very, very average. And I feel like City Plus have something to play for.
Yeah.
They want that top 5 spot.
100%.
So I'm gonna go with City.
Well, before we sign off, why don't we look at our fantasy for last week?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't do too badly, 59 points.
Yeah, nice, well above average.
You know, I think, look, I did a great captain with Gibbs White. He got a goal and assist.
Very good captain. Yeah.
I brought Mbembo into my team
Yep.
as well. He's been quite good for me. Munoz has been great ever since I brought him in.
Yep.
I think the only error I made in this week with my team is that I left Flecken on the bench.
Yeah. But I mean, Stells was playing less stuff.
Unless I'm at home. Like you just... I didn't...
Fully expected a clean sheet.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So, 59 points for the week.
Yeah.
Look, that's not a bad result. What?
Do we have to? Nah, look.
Look, you still did all right, dude.
I was okay. Look, what I'm disappointed about is my bench, which we'll get into. So, look, I had Munoz as well. I captained Mbembo and did have Gibbs White, but I captained Mbembo.
Mm-hmm.
And look, that was pretty much, and Murphy got the assist, right? Cunha gave away, he had a yellow card and he only played 58 minutes, so we got 0.
Yeah.
But my big gripe was I had Robinson, right? So Robinson was in. But instead of having Livramento second and Kirkes third, I had him around. So Kirkes went in instead of Livramento.
Yeah.
Reason why is because I definitely thought Chelsea were going to score, but I fucked up there. And obviously I had Henderson as well. They were playing Tottenham. I should have probably put him in, but again, I thought Forest were definitely going to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, I did, as did I, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we go on to next week and see what subs we make and see how we go. But
Well, I've already made my subs.
who'd you go for this week?
So I had 2 subs, but I actually took 4 points.
Okay.
I took 4. So, and I'm using my bench boost this week as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, can we go to? So, if you scroll up,
Go back.
yeah. If we go to pick team, I've already done it. So,
Oh, this is what you're looking at.
yeah. So I've taken out Mamush. He's not playing anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I've got Watkins in and captained him.
Yep.
I've also taken out. I took out Robinson and I put in Ruben because I think they will keep a clean sheet. They've been keeping clean sheets pretty
Yep.
much past 5 weeks. Scroll down one, please. And then I put in Eze. I got rid of Bruno Fernandes, who I don't think will play anymore in the Premier League. So I put Eze in instead.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, and I've used my bench
Eze's
boost.
been equally as good as what Bruno was in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And you've used your bench boost.
And my bench boost, because I don't know how next week's going to go. I think a lot of players will probably get rested anyway. So I thought I might use it this week.
I'm thinking the same thing that I'm taking for. I think I'm going to get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold for my team.
Have to.
Like
Slots already said he's not playing any more games.
Yeah, so I mean, look, if I jump into kind of my team here, I think this week, sorry, big team.
Yep, there we go. Oh,
Well, that's fucking annoying.
Can you click on it? If we go pick team. There we go.
Nope, that's your team.
Oh, that's mine.
Yep.
Oh, that's why.
I'm going to have to sign in.
Ah, well.
Bear with us, everybody. God damn it.
Oh, man. Always waiting for you,
Yeah,
man.
God, fuck you. So, look, on my pick team, I think, look, 2 players that I probably want to get rid of. I think.
Have you got 2 trades or 1 trade?
I do. I know I've only got 1.
Okay.
I've only got 1 trade for the week. I think I'm going to get rid of Alexander-Arnold.
I think you have to.
And I think I'm going to get rid of Urian Timber.
Okay, yep.
But 2 defenders.
So you're happy?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're happy with your attack?
Look, not really.
Mm.
You know, I wouldn't mind getting rid of Mateta. I don't think he's going to score against Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I want to bring in 2 and use my bench boost as well.
Yep.
But I'm gonna give myself time to. Think
Well, you've
about
got
what I do
until Friday night because Saturday morning is the Villa game.
here. Yeah. So look, I'm definitely making 2 subs. What those 2 are going to be yet to be seen.
Yep.
Because and then I'm leaning towards an Ishak captain this week.
That's a big call. Very big call.
It's a huge call because I just don't see Arsenal coming out and firing against Newcastle. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
It's a huge game. Very, very keen to see how it goes.
I'm definitely leaving Minte. I think there's a reason that I put him in my team.
He nearly fucking scored last week as well. I was
Dude.
like, oh, James is going to like that.
Dude, he always almost scores. That's the annoying thing. And I feel like against Liverpool, he's just going to have a game.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be our youth players. He'll skin someone and get like a goal or 2. So I'm going to
like
leave him in.
I like it.
But I could go Gibbs White again as captain. But I don't know. I need
You
time
have a
to
lot of
decide.
decisions to make.
Yeah, dude. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. But look, till next week, we'll figure out what happens. But
Hey.
peace out.
Bye.